All these rejections from the middle Bollinger Band.
Resistance we're going to need.
If you actually see here, we get a
And we'll look for a healthy higher
I
low.
would not
don't have
be
the
convinced
full
to enter a long trade.
Hello everyone, hope you're doing well on this fine Friday. We've got Bitcoin, Ethereum, XLM, and BNB on tap. First off, a little bit of news. Coinbase froze for BTC USD last night, and it wasn't just a 1 to 2 hour kind of thing. In the end, it ended up lasting significantly long, maybe, I don't know, 12, 16 plus hours. So obviously that's no good because people are stuck in trades, people's stop losses do not get triggered. And it's just one of those reminders where as long as these exchanges keep having trouble, we have to be cautious about how much money we're putting on them because they are not the kind of secure brokers that we are used to with stocks. And they are not up to par in terms of services that we as traders need and deserve. So they will be coming. Really what this does is that backed exchange, I don't know how to spell it now, BAKKT perhaps, but they are the number one competition for Coinbase, in my opinion. Obviously, they haven't even started yet, but when they do, I do believe that they're going to take a lot of Coinbase's customers, me potentially being one of them. So it's something to keep an eye out for. But again, there's still services that we don't have in terms of the order types. I can place conditional orders on Fidelity where I place 3 different orders where I say, if this happens, execute this order. If this happens, execute this order. So I can place my stop loss and my sell target at the same time. Cannot do that on Coinbase, and without a doubt, it has led to really harder trading environments. I have not made as much profit as if I would if I had the opportunity to do that and place 2 different orders at the same time. So it is something that we're continually looking forward to in terms of having the tools that we need. But we're not there just yet, and yesterday, a nice reminder. So I personally, and now I'm looking at the Bitfinex Bitcoin chart because there's a big gap in the price action on the Coinbase chart. But I personally stopped myself out of half of my position. Just a little bit of a recap. I entered my position down in the 6,200s. I was going to enter a heavy position if we followed through and broke 6,000. We did not get that break, so I did not go in heavy. I had a manageable position and now watched it follow through. I exited half of that position yesterday when the 15-minute higher lows were lost. My reasoning for doing that was obviously we're in a downtrend. When we are fighting against the trend, I take profit sooner. I don't like to, go for the home run if I'm fighting the trend. If I've got profit, I'm going to lock that in, especially in such a bearish market environment overall. So as soon as this level broke of 65.55, it was a different level on Coinbase by a few dollars, but exited half of my position, and I'm still holding half of my position, and I'm waiting to see how this tightening range breaks. So we had the daily inside bar yesterday. We have the daily inside bar today, and we're looking for that to break tomorrow. If we get a bear break, we're heading down to test the low of 61.28 and then 6,000. And if we get a bull break, we're going to be watching daily exponential resistances, highlighted how they're going to be approaching the 6,800 level over the next couple of days, and we're dropping down towards that mark. It'll probably be there on Sunday or so. So that's what my game plan is on Bitcoin from here. I will not be in a rush to add any positions if we get a bear break because I'm going to be waiting again. My criteria in this downtrend has been look for scaling in orders when the 15-minute, the hourly, and the 4-hour are all oversold. And that increases my odds that we see a short-term bounce shortly after I enter my position. Whereas if all 3 of those conditions are not lining up, then those odds are not as favorable. So that's something I've been using as a general rule of thumb because it keeps me from entering too early. If those 3 conditions are not met, I don't enter the trade and I don't enter any bid orders. So that's a way that I keep myself in check essentially from over trading in this bearish environment. Also did an analysis of my stock performance in 2018, and very notable that my 2 lowest profit months were April and July. And when I look at the Bitcoin chart, there's no surprise there. There's April, there's July. So I was all over those bull moves and was trading less in my stock account otherwise. And then when we're in the bear moves on the weekly time frame, I'm trading in a stock account a lot more. So this past 2 weeks, I've been trading stocks very, very aggressively, and it's been going really well. And that's a way, again, having that outlet of other things to trade that are in way more favorable setups keeps me from over trading and keeps me from bleeding money and giving away profit from previously in the year. So 4-hour time frames tightening up on Bitcoin a little bit. I don't really like it as a clear equilibrium. We do have the high, the low. These are the two ranges I'm watching, and we did set a lower high, but it's almost in the same candlestick that high and low occurred. It's just not as clear and perfect as I would like it to be in terms of a nice tight high, low, lower high. So I would not be playing a bull break of this move personally. I'm not going to add any position because, again, we're still fighting the trend overall, and that is, I mean, bull breaks have very rarely in the last few months, or the last month I'll say, very rarely have they led to profit in terms of significant follow through. So we often get consolidation that allows for another entry. And just like on this move, you know, the initial bull move up to 6,600, people were wanting to rush in and saying, is this the real bounce? And if they were just patient, now we get an entry opportunity in 6,300s. So it definitely pays to be patient if looking bullish, counter trend. Same thing if you're looking bearish, counter trend. You know, people trying to short the S&P 500 over the last 8 years, it pays to be patient. So checking in on Bitcoin's hourly chart, we're fading down. We're seeing these moves again where the bull moves today have been on very quick bursts and just little 5-minute green candlesticks without much follow through. So the bulls have not really proven much today at all. We have a tightening hourly range to be watching, 63.33 support and then 63.01. And in terms of resistance, it's just a clear 15-minute lower high pattern with our most recent lower high 64.20 and 64.36. So clear 15-minute lower highs, a couple higher lows. We should see a break and a volume spike within the next 2 hours. And judging by the normal reaction when I post these videos, probably right after I post this video, we're going to get a significant volume spike and break. The bears still have favors. Right now, where we currently stand, the bears have favor, and that's because the 4-hour exponential moving averages are still resistant. The RSI levels have all cooled off, which opens up the possibility for another leg down. Even the daily RSI cooled off from oversold a little bit. So bears are still in control, and we see that on the shorts chart. And how we can see that is we don't see covering. We do not see fear. We do not see uneasy action from these shorts. Granted, we could be seeing, you know, shorts could close out their positions up here, and then more shorts could be entering. So on this 4-hour move for Bitcoin, when I saw, you know, the big spike up, let's look at it on the hourly time frame. So we got the significant follow through, and even that didn't cause shorts to cover. But I do keep in mind that, you know, shorts could be covering. We could see 1,000 shorts cover and then 1,000 shorts open back up again. And that would look the same on this chart. We wouldn't really notice a whole lot of a difference. So that is something to note. But overall, not a lot of shorts covering, which tells us they're still confident. And they should be at this point because the bulls have not proven anything on the longer term 4-hour time frame. Checking in on Ethereum. Ethereum just broke to a lower low, possibly a little bit of a clue. We'll look at that on just a second. Here's the weekly time frame for Ethereum. So we broke 360 support this week. That was notable because the next price level, last time we were in this range, was back in November of 2017. Next clear weekly support, 275. Bear flag was confirmed on increasing bear volume. Daily time frame, multiple inside bars just like Bitcoin, still oversold at this point. So RSI levels are more extreme than Bitcoin. Here's the bear break I'm talking about. Here's Ethereum trading at the low of this consolidation at this point, whereas Bitcoin is not there yet. So you can see we just broke to a lower low, clear lower highs on the 15-minute time frame, similar to Bitcoin, every little bounce leading to a lower high all throughout this morning and into this afternoon. So it'll be clear if the bulls are able to break the 15-minute time frame, but at this point, the bears have that control and that momentum, and the bulls are doing nothing to change that. I will exit the rest of my Bitcoin position if we see a bear break of this support 63.01. Checking in on XLM. XLM had news about exploring a relationship with Facebook, and I didn't look in depth into that news as I'm not trading XLM, but if you're interested in it, check that out because it's definitely having a short-term impact. And we don't have a ton of history on this weekly chart, but it's certainly all the history that I need because I'm just looking at, you guessed it, an equilibrium. We've got our higher low of 19.4, and we're going to be looking for a lower high to be set. If the bulls have some strong follow-through, I would look for that lower high in the 2.7 to 2.9 range. But just looking at the daily chart at this point, not changing any trends on the daily, we're going to have to top out on this bounce, form a higher low and then a higher high, and that would give us the weekly follow-through to this tightening equilibrium pattern if we can get that daily higher low and higher high. So on the 4-hour time frame, solid bounce, solid follow-through. Our support at this point is 212. The bulls would love to hold that level and continue this move, getting over exponential resistance, looking for a bull cross of those exponential moving averages. And the bottom line is the daily chart has to see that higher low and higher high to change that trend, because as we go over, if I'm looking for a daily higher low to form, I need an hourly higher low and higher high. If I'm looking for a weekly higher low to form, I need a daily higher low and higher high. So I zoom in to a shorter term time frame and look for the trend change if I'm looking for a level to be set on a longer term time frame. So for XLM, zoom into the hourly, starting to consolidate a little bit more after that, top out at 2388. If the bulls are able to break 2388, the next resistance level that we're looking at is 2454 and then up to 249. So a couple resistances ahead, and we'll see if the bulls can keep that 4-hour higher low pattern. And you can see that decent hour, or the 4-hour volume on this leg up that we got. Ended up being a little bull flag on the 4-hour after the initial spike up. So we'll wrap it up with Binance. Binance on the weekly time frame, again, at risk of losing the uptrend. We had the double bottom, 1161, 1163, and here we are, the low of 1195. So we're not there just yet, but it is absolutely within striking distance, and this is a bearish reversal head and shoulders pattern setup that just has not had the follow through yet. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder, and the neckline is a double low. If that level is lost, 1098, 963 are the next two weekly supports. So there is potential that Binance is going to lose this weekly uptrend. We have multiple daily inside bars, just like Bitcoin. Looking at that tightening on the 4-hour time frame, we have multiple 4-hour inside bars. Support is 1226 and then down to 1195. And then, of course, 1161 is the most important level of support. And resistance, we're looking up at the top of this move, 1288. And if we want to get a more closer level, the hourly time frame is giving us a bit of a tighter range. So overall, bulls still holding on, but it's not looking too good right now. In order for the bulls to get some relief, we have to break 1288 to alleviate the concerns of potentially breaking this weekly support. So that's where we stand on all these names. Checking back in on Bitcoin real quick. Still holding on. So maybe that Ethereum move is not an early indication, but whenever I see that, I definitely pay extra close attention. Bulls need to break this 15-minute lower high pattern over 6,420 as step number one to shift this momentum. Nice little tightening equilibrium on the 15-minute to be watching at this point. So I appreciate you all watching. Continue to do good things. Going to look at a video here. I dug up the video. I shared a story a few weeks ago where I ended up leaving my sleeping bag the first night in Yellowstone and had to hike back in the middle of the night through bear country to get it again. I got some video proof as to my lack of a sleeping bag as we hiked in, and also firing my first gun ever. So thanks again. We'll see you tomorrow. Here we are hiking in with all of our gear as we're going to be in the backwoods for a few nights. You can see my backpack. I've got the tent strapped up. I've got my nice sleeping mat and got some pots and pans and things like that. And you'll notice, comparing to my buddy's bag, there is a giant sleeping bag there, but a little bit of redemption because I did have the tent on my back, so that's where my sleeping bag would have been. Makes me feel a little bit better about myself for leaving the sleeping bag, but the end result was waking up in the middle of the night, freezing cold. It did end up getting around, 30 degrees. It did get freezing and a nice frost in the middle of the night, so I woke up and had to walk back a couple miles through the woods singing loudly so the bears would not be startled, and ended up back to this bridge that we ended up crossing, and that is where I saw a giant white snow owl, which ended up being a really cool experience. And it was perched right there on the left side of the bridge, and then it swooped down over the river, and then I slept in my car. So that's that story. Got a few more videos over the weekend. Jams, some river jams. We'll do that one next, and we'll see you then.
May I have another?
Welcome to Texas, Dan.
Woo! That's how you get the paint off.